It's time to check in with our colleagues at Life. Now, with Christmas a few weeks away, here's an idea for a gift: sweet treats from homegrown chocolatier Mr. Bucket.
Well, inspired by a children's book, I think both of us know this one, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. And Mr. Bucket's founder sees his shop as a continuation of the story of the main character, Charlie Bucket.
Now let's hear more from food correspondent Eunice Quack. Hi Eunice. Eunice, in what ways is Mr. Bucket conceptualized into what Olivia said earlier, a continuation of Charlie Bucket's story?
Hey guys, so basically at the end of the storybook, right, Charlie Bucket actually wins the factory from the crazy Willy Wonka. But the thing is that I guess for here is it's a slightly different kind of style. It's not the over-the-top, crazy chocolate shop that you might expect. In fact, I would say it's like it's a fun, sophisticated, grown-up Charlie Bucket, if you will. So the fun part, obviously, is when the owner takes a lot of puts in a lot of creativity into the different flavors. I like that he works with different farmers in the region to get the cacao beans, and he also has this wonderful chocolate room. You can watch basically his chocolate chefs at work, and it's actually very therapeutic to just sit there and watch them working with their chocolate.
And so Eunice, what would you suggest for Christmas gifts from this Mr. Bucket?
So they've actually put together quite a few festive hampers. So that's really nice because you kind of get the bonbons, you get some chocolate bars, and what's really good is that they also have their drinking hot chocolate. So that's really good for the chocolate lovers. Nice hot chocolate, rainy weather, it's absolutely perfect. Or you could actually put together your own chocolate box and maybe look out for two very interesting flavors. One is the double soy caramel, and the other is the mala, mild spicy. Not to sound too scary, think about it as the soy caramel, they actually work with soy sauce from a local soy sauce brand, and think of it like a salted caramel, right? And for the mala one, it's very popular in other countries that you have like a chocolate chili pairing. So if you think of it that way, it's not too scary, and actually the heat, very mild heat, in the chocolate kind of works really well.
Well, thanks so much, Eunice, for the recommendations. That was food correspondent Eunice Quack sharing more on local chocolate shop Mr. Bucket. It's near my house, so I think I'll be making a trip there this weekend. You can find it at 23 Sin Ming Road.
Olivia, K-pop is huge around the world, right? Including Singapore, because Singaporeans listened to Korean boy band BTS the most on Spotify this year.
Well, we're not here to talk about BTS though, because girl group GFriend recently released their third album titled Walpurgis Night.
And here to give his review is correspondent Benson Ang. Benson, tell us, how is this album different from their previous ones?
Interestingly, on this album, there are 3 tracks which are called sub-unit tracks, and these tracks are performed by just 2 of the 6 members of GFriend. So I've never seen a GFriend album with sub-unit tracks before, but I think it's a welcome change because the tracks give the members room to shine very individually. So often the K-pop groups just meld into one sound. But with these sub-unit tracks, there's a chance for them to shine on their own.
Oh, good point there, Benson. Any numbers, any songs impressed you the most?
I loved Secret Diary, which is sung by Yerin, which is who has pink hair, and Simbi, who has short hair. So this is a very cutesy song about youthful infatuation, and it showcases a very different side to these 2 members compared to the side that we see in lead single Margot, which is very fun and sassy. Another song that you might want to look out for is Night Drive, which is sung by Yunha, who has blonde hair, and Yuju, who is the brunette. So this is a slow song which has very lovely harmonies, and by singing it, it shows that these 2 members can emote the feelings that are required of a ballad, and they're doing so all while sitting down. You know me, I love works that showcase the versatility of a group's members, so this album is definitely worth checking out.
Thanks for coming on, Benson. We've been speaking to correspondent Benson Ang on GFriend's latest album.
Well, let's move on to something a little heavier, Jan. The Kingmaker, which is a very interesting, fascinating documentary on the Philippines' former First Lady Imelda Marcos.
Its writer and director Lauren Greenfield looks at Mrs. Marcos's political career with a focus on the family's efforts to rehabilitate their image as well as their return to power.
Well, film correspondent John Lui joins us now. John, what can you tell us about the structure of the documentary? We understand that the first part allows Mrs. Marcos to tell her narrative, but slowly as the documentary progresses, opposing viewpoints are introduced. So do you think, does it make for more powerful storytelling?
Oh yeah, it's powerful in the sense that it's an emotional documentary. A lot of documentaries are just like facts. But this one, you just get angry and sad because she's like somebody we know either in our family or in our office. She has a really unreliable memory. She remembers things completely different, 180 degrees from the way they were. And it just makes you furious. So she has her piece, paints herself as a saintly figure, the victim of, evil forces. And then later on in the documentary, you see what really happened. And it changes your whole opinion of her.
Right. And what do you think viewers will take away from The Kingmaker?
They take away the fact that, first of all, we're living in a modern time. She knows that as long as she keeps projecting her version of history, that the Marcos family loved the Philippines, that they did everything they could to help the Philippines. As long as she keeps repeating that, it will become reality in a manner of speaking. And then it's up to everyone else to correct her. And, sometimes people don't do that. So maybe she'll win.
Well, thank you so much, John, for coming onto the show to tell us more about the film. That was film correspondent John Lui. Now, you can rent The Kingmaker from the Projector's virtual cinema at $10 for a 48-hour viewing window.
Yep, I can't wait. Actually, I think I'm about to do that. Well, the Friday section in tomorrow's paper will have even more suggestions, so keep an eye out for that.